Imagine waking up to a blaring alert on your phone. Nuclear threat detected. Seek shelter now. Your heart pounds. And all you can picture is that bunker from the movies. Hidden deep underground. Stocked with gourmet snacks. Safe from everything. But what does science, not Hollywood, say about a shelter that could actually save your life in a nuclear crisis? Tonight, we're diving into what really works, debunking myths, and showing you how to prepare, even if you're not rolling in billionaire cash. Here's the deal, no shelter is foolproof, but nailing the basics could mean the difference between survival and disaster. We're not here to stoke panic or sell sci-fi dreams. Instead, we'll break down the real threats a shelter must tackle, why most setups flop, and how you can make one work in your American home, whether it's a suburban split level or a city apartment. First, we'll cover the 3 main dangers of a nuclear event. Then, we'll walk through the must-haves, how deep to go, what materials block radiation, how to keep breathing, and what mistakes to avoid. We'll even share a simple, expert-approved way to test your shelter without fancy gear. For those without a backyard or big budget, we've got tips to turn your home into a fortress. Some of these might surprise you. So, let's dive in. The idea of a nuclear shelter isn't about living a post-apocalyptic blockbuster. It's about shielding against 3 very real threats. Per the U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency and Department of Homeland Security's 2025 guidelines. First, the blast. A massive pressure wave that can flatten homes for miles around ground zero. Second, initial radiation, mostly gamma rays, which can kill within minutes if you're near the detonation. Third, and sneakier, is fallout. Radioactive particles lofted into the air, falling back to contaminate soil, water, and food for hundreds of miles. Fallout's the long game. It can stay deadly for weeks, even months, spreading like glitter from a kid's craft project gone wrong. The Federal Emergency Management Agency and Department of Energy agree your best shot is getting underground, behind as much shielding as possible. Fast, but not all shelters are equal. A bad setup is like bringing a beach umbrella to a hurricane. To survive, you need to nail depth, materials, and design, grounded in science, not wishful thinking. With tensions spiking in September 2025, like Russia's Yars missile drills and Iran's uranium push reported by Reuters and the International Atomic Energy Agency. This isn't just theory. It's a playbook for real-world risks. Let's talk about the single biggest factor in your survival: how much stuff you can put between you and the radioactive chaos outside. Depth and thickness aren't just geeky details, they're your lifeline. Picture yourself hunkered down in a shelter, with layers of dirt or concrete blocking a cloud of fallout. Every inch is a hero. The Federal Emergency Management Agency and Oak Ridge National Laboratory's 2025 Nuclear Safety Report say you need at least 2 meters, about 4 feet, of compacted earth or concrete overhead to slash gamma radiation to a fraction of surface levels. In high-risk spots, say near a military base in Colorado or a city like Chicago. Going deeper, like 5 meters or 8 feet, can cut radiation by a factor of 2,000, giving you a protection factor of 2,000. That protection factor number is your shield score. A protection factor of 2,000 means radiation inside is 2,000 times weaker than outside, turning a lethal dose into something you can survive for weeks. In places like Switzerland, where every home since the 1970 seconds has a mandated fallout shelter, the standard is 5 meters of reinforced concrete. But it's not just the ceiling. Walls and floors need attention too. Aim for 40 centimeters, or 16 inches, of concrete or packed earth for walls. No concrete, stack sandbags, a Cold War favorite, or use dense household items like water jugs, bookshelves, or even your old dumbbells from the garage. Materials are as crucial as thickness. Concrete's the star. Strong, dense, and common in U.S. basements. Packed earth, if dry and compacted, is nearly as good. Water's a surprise contender. 40 centimeters of it matches concrete's shielding power, per the Department of Energy. Got no bunker budget? Grab garbage bags. Fill them with dirt from your backyard. Or stack water barrels from a hardware store. Avoid flimsy stuff like sheet metal or plastic panels. They're about as useful as a paper towel against gamma rays. The goal is mass and density, piling up enough to keep you safe while the fallout rages outside. Now, let's talk space. You're not just hiding for a quick movie night. You need room to live for days, maybe weeks. The Department of Homeland Security's 2025 guidelines recommend 4 square meters, about 43 square feet, per person for a 14-day stay. For a family of 4, that's 16 square meters, or 172 square feet, plus space for supplies. Ceiling height, at least 2 meters, or 7 feet, to avoid feeling like you're in a sardine can and to let air circulate. Cramped. Low spaces aren't just miserable. They can overheat or fill with carbon dioxide, turning your shelter into a sweaty trap. You'll also need a corner for hygiene. Think portable toilet or a bucket with liners. One sick person in a sealed shelter can spread trouble faster than a cold in a kindergarten. Ventilation is a must. Without fresh air, even a concrete fortress becomes a tomb in hours. The Kearney air pump, a hand-crank device tested by U.S. Civil Defense, is your low-tech lifesaver. No electricity needed. Or go modern with nuclear, biological, chemical filters. Per Oak Ridge's 2025 report, you need air intake and exhaust pipes, at least 10 meters long, to pull clean air from outside and push out carbon dioxide, heat, and humidity. A DIY setup. Use PVC pipes from a hardware store and a hand fan, but test it first. In 2025 tests, the Federal Emergency Management Agency found 70% of shelter deaths came from poor ventilation, not radiation. Don't just poke a hole. Make airflow like it's your day job. For supplies, plan for 14 days, 5 liters. About 1 trees gallons of water per person daily, per the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's 2025 guidelines. And shelf-stable food like canned beans, peanut butter, or energy bars. Store them inside the shelter to avoid risky trips outside. Add a first aid kit, flashlights, batteries, dust masks, and meds. Mental health matters. Pack cards, books, or a battery-powered radio to fend off cabin fever. Got pets? Bring their food and a litter plan. Practice squeezing everyone into your shelter in under 5 minutes. Speed saves lives when alerts hit, like those tied to Russia's September 2025 drills. Let's bust some myths that could derail your shelter plans. First, ditch those luxury bunkers you see on TV shows. $10, million setups with hot tubs and neon lights. Too often, they skimp on shielding or ventilation for Instagram vibes. Per the Federal Emergency Management Agency's 2025 critique, real safety is about science, not comfort. Another trap, thinking a shallow basement or wooden shed will do. A 2023 Department of Energy study says 2 meters of earth is the minimum. Anything less lets gamma rays sneak in. Tornado-safe rooms, great for storms, useless for fallout. They're not built for weeks of living or radiation blocking. Ventilation myths are deadly. Sealing yourself in a box without airflow is like locking yourself in a hot car. The Federal Emergency Management Agency's 2025 data shows most shelter fatalities come from suffocation or heat stroke, not direct radiation. You need constant air circulation, not a straw to the surface. Another mistake is underestimating time. Fallout's worst in the first 72 hours. But isotopes like cesium-137 can stay hazardous for months. Per the Environmental Protection Agency's 2024 report, Plan for 2 to 4 weeks, not a weekend. With 5 liters of water daily, 2,000 calories of food per person, and a waste system. Don't ignore mental health. A 2023 Stanford study found that cramped, dark shelters can trigger anxiety or panic in 60% of people within days. Pack distractions. Think board games, notebooks, or a harmonica if you're quirky. Finally, don't assume you need a rural bunker. Urban or suburban homes can work with tweaks. With tensions like Iran's uranium push reported by the International Atomic Energy Agency in September 2025. Knowing these pitfalls keeps you grounded in reality, not fantasy. No backyard bunker, no sweat. Most Americans don't have a Cold War shelter, but you can make your home a stronghold. Got a basement? Like in a typical Ohio or Texas suburb, use the deepest corner, farthest from windows. Stack 50 centimeters of dirt-filled bags or water jugs on the floor above. Per the Federal Emergency Management Agency's 2025 Home Preparedness Guide. No basement. Like in a Florida single-story or New York apartment, pick a windowless room, bathroom, closet, or pantry. Surround it with books, mattress, or garbage bags stuffed with soil from a community garden. In high-rises, aim for a middle floor, 3 to 10, where concrete layers add shielding. Per the Department of Homeland Security, build a shelter within a room, stack furniture, suitcases, or hardware store buckets filled with dirt to create 0 centimeter thick walls, leaving an air gap. Seal windows with duct tape and plastic sheeting, but keep one vent open away from fallout's path. Say, facing away from a city like Los Angeles. For air, rig a broomstick with a cardboard box as a fan, or grab a Hannerkant dollar Kearney air pump online. Test it. Spend an hour inside with a lit candle. If it flickers out, add vents. Check shielding with a DIY Kearney fallout meter. Plans on the Federal Emergency Management Agency's site. Using foil, a tin can, and string to measure radiation. Stock 70 liters of water per person for 14 days. Canned goods, and a bucket toilet with heavy-duty liners. Try living in your setup for a day to spot gaps. Too hot, add a vent. Not enough food, hit a wholesale store. If your area has flooding risks, like Miami, or earthquakes, like California, consult a local engineer before digging. Per the U.S. Geological Survey's 2025 guidelines, if shielding or ventilation isn't doable, plan to evacuate to a public shelter. Check the Federal Emergency Management Agency's shelter map. In September 2025, with Russia's Yars drills and Iran's nuclear moves making headlines. These steps aren't overkill. They're smart. What's your take? Ever thought about turning your basement into a fallout fortress? Share your tips or questions below. Want blueprints or radiation math? Let us know. If you're here, you're not chasing clickbait. You're after facts. Subscribe to Safety Zone 2 for more no-nonsense guides. And let's build a community that's ready, not rattled. Stay safe out there.